Hey everyone, today's date is Saturday, May 3rd, and earlier today I had the opportunity to go down to Rosemont in Chicago and explore the inaugural Nightmare Weekend Chicago. It's very similar. It was at the Donald E. Stevens Center, which is a much larger convention center. Very similar setup to how they do the fan expos and the C2E2s. Which, if you follow my channel, you know I'm not a big attendee or fan of the really large conventions. I never have been. I've been to one fan expo, and I did really enjoy it, even though it was costly as hell. But you know, something different. You know, it was a nice weekend here in May to check out a new convention, and because it's new, it's the first time they did it here. You know, you want to show some support. So we didn't stay in the hotel or anything. We just sort of went down there for the day, Saturday, and I figured I'd just do a quick little video, show my souvenirs, my pickups, and just talk a little bit about my experience. And I don't have too much to say about my experience because, you know, it was limited to the 4 or 5 hours that we were there today. But I will say, we went down, registration started at 9 a.m. We went down, got there around 8, between 8:15 or so, because thinking about Fan Expo and C2E2, I was expecting there to be a long line and a lot of people waiting to get in, especially because it's Saturday. And to my surprise, 8:30, boom, we walk right in. There's our friend Jose there, just chilling out, waiting to get in. Apparently had a very similar idea that we did. And yeah, there was no wait at all. I mean, we had to wait outside for the actual vendor room to open. We didn't have a VIP pass, right? We just bought Saturday passes. But so my experience with the actual running of the convention is limited, so I can't say too much. Like I said, we were there for like 4 or 5 hours, but it was a very streamlined process for everything we were there to do. And now just showing you my pickups, my souvenirs, and pretty much all of them had to do with celebrity guests, so there's a lot of autographs here, although I did get some merch from vendors. So getting right into it, the first person I decided to meet while we were there was... I'm a huge fan of The Floor, the game show on Fox that Rob Lowe hosts. I've watched every episode from season 1 through the most recent season 3 because I am a nerd like that. I like game shows, I like trivia shows, and on this last season of The Floor it was pretty infamous because Brian O'Halloran from the Clerks series and all the Kevin Smith movies, he was a contestant on it, and he crushed it. He won more games than any other contestant on that show. Even though he was not the final champion, he still wound up with $110,000 when all was said and done. So he became pretty infamous with that show. And to my delight, he had a brand new 8x10 of his experience on that show, The Floor. Where, as you can see, he wrote it to Ken. Activate the randomizer, Brian O'Halloran, which if you've seen that show, you know exactly what that means. So yeah, that is awesome. And hilariously, he says, "You picked a good day to come here. I'm wearing the exact outfit I wore on the show." Which he was, which was even better. I got an in-costume photo up with Brian O'Halloran without even trying. And he was telling me about the production of the show, how the whole season is filmed in Dublin, Ireland, and how they filmed the whole season in like 5 days, 3 episodes a day, so everyone's tired by the end. That's the kind of stuff that I love finding out. So awesome. It was a pleasure meeting Brian O'Halloran. As was my dad and I. One of our favorite cult camp figures who is omnipresent in almost every movie ever made is none other than Clint Howard, who is someone I've been wanting to meet for years. It was great to finally see him at a convention here in Chicago. And The Wraith is one of our favorites. It's such a crazy, silly movie, but it has one of the best soundtracks ever put to an 80s film. Clint Howard's character of Rughead is awesome. He wrote his quote on there out to me and my dad. "You lose the race, you lose your car. Agreed?" And Clint Howard had a dog with him that was literally the tiniest dog I have ever seen in my life. I I have never seen anything like that before. So if anybody has any information over what type of dog that is, feel free to enlighten me. And then, like I said, I spoiled myself a little bit here, but this was a nice outing for my dad and I, and so we were just trying to make the most out of it. I met Chris Kattan before, and I met Dave Sheridan before, so I've kind of unintentionally started a collection of autographs on my Corky Romano DVD. Well, the female love interest, played by Vanessa Shaw, was there, so of course I had to add her to my Corky Romano autograph DVD. So I've now got 3 signatures on there, but let me tell you, she could not have been any more of a sweetheart. When I walked up to the table and when I was leaving her table, she giving everybody hugs. She was really talkative. She was real perky and happy and smiling. So she gave a great fan experience. So thank you very much, Vanessa Shaw. And same thing, I got Harvey Guillen. I am probably butchering his name. He's from What We Do in the Shadows. He was in The Internship way back when. Well, he's one of the leads now in the new movie that came out this year, Companion. So I got him to sign my Companion Blu-ray. And then he took my phone and did a series of selfies with me. He says, okay, regular selfie. Okay, now we're going to do a kiss face. Okay, and now we're going to be deep in thought. And then I just followed suit with all super. And today actually happened to be his birthday. And I overheard someone tell him that, so I don't know how old he actually is, but when I was leaving his table, I said, oh, by the way, from what I hear, happy birthday. 23 never looks so good. And he just says, oh yeah, I know I had to get there at some point. So he was fun, so thank you, Harvey. But then probably the coolest, most down-to-earth guy out of all of them was J.D. Pardo. And as you can see, I did a photo op with him. He's the only one I did a professional photo op with for this. Because you guys know, and it's no secret by now, that I am a gigantic, massive Fast and Furious fan. And he is in Fast 9 in the flashback scenes playing Dom and Jacob's dad, Jack Toretto, the race car driver who gets killed. And it sets up a lot about the backstory of that film. And, you know, most of his pictures were about the show Mayans that he's on, kind of that Sons of Anarchy spin-off show. But he was very happy to see that I had him sign this poster I had for F9, the Fast Saga. And I didn't even have to ask him any questions. He just immediately went in. He was very enthusiastic, telling me stories. And, oh my God, you know, I was the 3rd person asked to play Jack Toretto behind Javier Bardem and Benicio del Toro. I don't know how the hell they got to me. And then he was saying it was because that his face was on a billboard for the Mayans show outside of the production offices. And him and Paul Walker went to rival high schools in California, so they kind of knew each other. And it's just the kind of interactions that you love getting. And it's just, yeah. Now I got an autographed Fast 9, which I love. And so those were my celebrity encounters, but I did get a few pieces of merch, including, I met him before, but Tim Jacobus was there, the mastermind who designed all the book covers for the Goosebumps series. Last time I met him, I bought this big 12 by 12, or like this big square print of the How I Got My Shrunken Head artwork. Well, I went with something smaller this time, and I could not resist getting a little print of the Haunted Mask. You know, that iconic signature, this iconic art style that lived my entire childhood. Absolute pleasure to see Tim Jacobus. And lastly, the coolest merch I got. There was a cartoonist slash storyboard artist slash animator there named Jeff Brennan. And I really don't know much about animation or animators or any of that stuff, but I was looking at his table and I see all this stuff like King of the Hill, The Simpsons, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Dragon Tales, all these different shows. And so I was asking, I'm like, so what, what, I was asking him about himself, and he was saying, well, one of the things I did after I met Matt Groening at Comic-Con one year in San Diego, he had me work on the official Simpsons comic book with him. So he was one of the storyboard artists and animators for Bart Simpson, the son of Homer, the official Simpsons comic book, which I didn't even know existed. I didn't know too much about this. So that was great. I bought this from him, and he signed it for me. But he was also selling, because when he was hired to do that with Matt Groening, Fox sent him actual storyboards for Simpsons episodes that he could get his inspiration and make sure his modeling was down pat. And he was actually selling photocopies of these original full-length Simpsons storyboards. And I saw this sitting there, and I absolutely had to buy it because it's the Act 3 storyboard for honestly one of my favorite Simpsons episodes ever, the Springfield Files, which is the famous X-Files parody / crossover episode with Mr. Burns, and that's one of my favorite episodes. And he's got the original storyboards here, which contains several scenes not in the final episode. So a lot of stuff that was cut, you could see in here. And so as a huge Simpsons fan, having something like this, storyboards of Act 3 of the Springfield Files, is just so cool. I love it. So yeah, from Brian O'Halloran talking about the floor, to J.D. Pardo and I talking Fast 9, to the getting stuff on The Simpsons, and Tim Jacobus and his artwork. I will say, I wanted to do this video because the attendance for a Saturday was still pretty low there, which for me was good because I hate being in the congested, crowded, you're bumping shoulders with everyone in the room. I hate that kind of stuff, and that's why I don't do the fan expos or the C2E2s. But at the same time, you want these conventions to make money, so at least they could keep happening. So I wanted to just do this video, say I had a great time. Each and every celebrity guest I met gave a wonderful guest experience. So all of those that I mentioned and shouted out in this, I give, sincere gratitude and sincere thank yous to for being so respectful with me, and I'm sure all the other fans there. And all in all, it was a great day. So there was really nothing happening for me to vlog there, though. That's why I don't have any videos from there, because it's just kind of like nothing was really happening for me to do a video on. But yeah, so that was my experience today, Saturday, at the inaugural Nightmare Weekend Chicago. And summer's right around the corner, so let's see what's in store for us. Thank you guys, and we will see you in the next video.